Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the Final Fantasy XII Ultima project here, where if you've been kind of following along regularly throughout this whole building process, I've been a little MIA in the last week or so, thanks to kind of both the final preparations for and then actually running that Spartan Palmerton race, and then putting out the subsequent video and just a little bit of recovery afterwards. I really haven't been working on this in the last week, so today's goal is kind of get back in here again and start getting ourselves ready for the final push to get this actually completed and this model put together. So in that vein, I really have one main goal I want to get done by today, at the end of today's session, and that's going to be actually putting things together. We're going to combine this, what we see here, with this, what we see down here. We're going to try to combine the two areas together and really kind of bring everything into one, so we can kind of turn it into the image you see on the side here. Because I'll be honest, we have been spending a number of sessions now just working on the woodworking part, and it'd be nice to bring everything together to kind of just show what this is all essentially what it's all working towards. So with that in mind, we basically have one main part of this, building this whole thing up. And to do that, I have already gone ahead and drawn out the next two layers we have on here. Let me go take this apart. So what I've done is I've taken this upper section apart, traced it down on here, and then from that we were able to kind of draw out the basic plan of what we need. We have inside this front edge is actually notched in a little bit. If any of these views actually show it well or not. Certain views show it a little better than others, but it does get notched in a little bit in the front. And then on the outside edge, which I believe we have on here, if you look up top, you can see that kind of from where it indents a little bit on the bottom to the top there, you see the drum on the far side, with the drum. It does stick out a little bit on the sides here compared to what this is. So I'm going to take this general form, I'm going to go cut this out with my jigsaw, trace it, cut it one more time, do the kind of usual glue it together, sand it down, turn it into like a one solid piece like this, and then we're going to go from there, because that'll be the last of the big layers on top, and then every other layer we have after that actually winds up going under this dress area. This will take it to the base of the dress. So hang tight. I'm going to go get my jigsaw out here and cut this guy up. Then we'll take it from there. So hang tight. All right. So with that done, cut everything out. Did it the second time. Traced it, cut the other, glued the things together. Actually, just kind of hand sanded this, and it sanded off pretty dang well. Couple of spots I might go back with an orbital, but actually I'm surprised it sanded off as well as it did, so that's nice. And we drilled the hole in the bottom. I just kind of lined it up, put the hole in there, except unlike these guys, I didn't drill it all the way through. And the reason for that is when we stick this guy up and in for real, it's now going to keep this from accidentally sliding all the way down. This will help keep everything in place. When we glue all these guys together, it will now stay exactly where I want it to be. That said, when we get and put her dowel that goes down the middle is a little more back in here, so the two lines weren't going to line. The two guys weren't going to line up with each other anyway in the end. So, because this one is a little more towards the front, we can see on the bottom, so that's going to wind up being somewhere kind of back here. So it had to wind up being two in the end, so that's where this whole phase is going to stop. Then the part that connects into her is going to be its own separate part up on top of this. That said, what I've also gone ahead and done is when I took this, I then traced that form onto this piece over here, and as you can kind of see on the side image there, this area in here, up top and down, is going to wind up being carved out in the end. So this kind of W shape you can see on the side is going to protrude out, and all of that's going to get carved back to match this. So that's going to come out in a future session or the end of this session. I'm not sure which. In any event, right now, if you want to go back to and remember when we did the dress on on Ultima here. And we had to do this nice form work underneath it to kind of hold everything up. Well, I was able to take it off, take everything out, and pull it apart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and salvage this middle piece here of clay. I'm not going to use the clay per se to actually be functional on this. But what I can do is I can pull all these things out, take this out, trace this, and I have actually a nice piece of 3/8 plywood we used actually as a soffit piece for a bay window a number of months ago. That it was just a nice piece of plywood I figured I could use for stuff. I'm going to go ahead and trace this onto the plywood, and that'll be used as a nice base. Yeah, I just trace this. That'll be used as a good base to kind of stick underneath her, and then that'll be great to then put the next section can then have something that the part that it connects from here to this has something real to hook onto. So once again, I'm going to disappear for a little bit. I'm going to kind of trace that out, get that made up, and then we'll go from there. I feel bad doing a lot of stuff kind of off camera right now, but it's kind of busy work doing this part, so it is what it is. Alright, so went ahead, traced that one piece here, cut it out, and you see it's not perfectly symmetrical, and that's fine because when I made the other one before, it was out of clay, and it's just, it matches what the underside of Ultima here looks like. Now I took the wings off because they're just kind of getting in the way of things, but if we go underneath, I mentioned I'd already written down an F and a B for a forward and back. We slide that on, and that's going to fit and be a nice little perch for this to kind of sit on top of. Now from here we start kind of making, it's kind of a little bit of making things up as we go because it's a little ambiguous what's going on underneath here. So give me 1 second here. The best we can get to go off of on that would be when she's casting Ultima here. Because again, if we come back like our side views and whatnot, these types of images, when you're in the battle yourself, you don't have control of the camera, so you can't actually tilt it up to see what's going on. So most of the battle you're just kind of staring at the platform there. But there is the one instance where you can kind of see what's going on when she casts the, I was going to say Ultima, I think it's Holy she casts. You can kind of see there's a little bit of a block that kind of comes up. It's kind of a shallow block, and then it kind of disappears into the black up top. And so what I'm going to wind up doing is carving a little block similar to this. Let me get the camera high enough so we can see what's going on. So we're going to carve a block down to kind of come in here. On top of that, I've already went and prepped an 1 7/8 tall dowel, which is going to go on top of that. And then if we take our Ultima here, we take that piece we just made, is going to be going on top of that. So this is a lot of talking and not a lot of showing this session, I've kind of realized, but it's one of those important ones because after this it just becomes kind of detailing again and looking good. But we do need to understand why we're making the choices we're making. So the way this is going to function is the post that's going down inside her right now. We have this here, this metal rod. That, if I can get you back on here again. Okay. That metal rod is going to go through this. It's going to go all the way through this. It goes all the way through this one. And then it partly goes, it goes maybe, I think it's not even ½ inch, like it winds up being about 3/8 of an inch or so into this guy. And that's not really enough, I think, to keep it super steady. So on top of that, I'm going to make a secondary short rod that kind of goes here and here. It's going to go about, I don't know, ½ inch or so into here. Then I can go down ½ inch into this one as well. And that'll help keep things. If I have 2 of those kind of going in there, that'll keep that together a little well. That said, although it's not as important on this session as is in the future, I will be having like a double base on here to keep this up, because with all this weight now going up top, and actually she is the heaviest of the weights on here, is going to be up at the top part. I need to give myself enough stability for this to work. And you can see this is already wobbling without this fully attached. So if I attach that in here, that will, you see, if we're just kind of, if I keep this one separate from that, we wind up being a little bit loose. So if I go through here and into that, attach a second onto here, that will help give the stability I need to hold all this together. So once we get this guy cut out, the block here cut out nice and neat, then after that, then we can make those kind of little hockey stick things. I keep calling little hockey stick things, but if you look on the side, those areas kind of come up, in, and up again. Once we get this in place up top, then we can kind of form that around and just dead end it into here. It's not really going to matter so much how the connection works, because you're really not going to see anything past this. It's under the dress. It's not going to be a visible connections, so I'm not super concerned on that. But first thing I'm going to do is just cut that block, and for that, that's just a simple 1 inch by 1.5 inch block, and we'll drill the holes through that and get this going. And I'll be right back when we come to install the thing. Alright, so got everything kind of drilled and cut, and in the interest of actually doing something on camera this time and not just saying what we're going to be doing and going forward, I've at least drilled the holes and kind of pushed this in and out just so I know it actually fits in here, but I haven't actually pieced everything together for real. So we're going to go ahead and do that this time. So thankfully I went and I put a little arrow on this thing, that's the front edge of it. And you go in yay far, which is going down into the other block, approximately that far. And I'm going to go and see how well this cuts on camera, because sometimes it doesn't. Trying to cut this stuff is not always good. It doesn't always want to cooperate. Mostly because I'm using stuff I'm not supposed to be using to cut this. This is not exactly the good tool to be doing that with. But okay, so we have that. We can stick you in the bottom hole there. We can stick that back. Okay, so that, it wobbles a little bit, but that still keeps it all together. Now, nope, not you yet, not you yet. Not ready for that yet. Let's see, I'm going to put you on here. Okay, that's attached. Now I have, just to keep this from sliding down right now, because all these things aren't glued together, I just have a piece of clay on here which kind of keeps it doing what I want it to be doing. So we have our block up top, we have that. So now we need the main event. So now I have you. So first thing I'm going to do is take this. I have my F is facing forward and B is facing back. That's going to slide in there. This piece slides with a little bit of effort, which is also why I'm holding the main body. I'm not holding the dress, so it's not going to crumble on me. I'm going to slide you in here. It slid a little better in practice, but we got that in. Now we can go take this. This should pop up and in. So now you are up there, and while we're at this, let's go and see what the whole effect is going to be. Now this may wind up just being a really short session because I don't really have much more planned than kind of getting this in, and this has already taken longer than I thought it would just to try to plan all of this stuff out. So bear with on this. It would be helpful if I could find, you know what, I haven't had to do this in a while, so there is a hole for the neck in here. Hey, there it is. We found that. That's good. So that's in. And if we're going the whole 9 yards, whoop, let's get these little ear wing things going in here. We bring this back together. Now I'm pretty sure these guys are not going to hold in place particularly well at this juncture, but they're going to ultimately wind up in there. And what we have in the end, if we zoom out far enough, and if we put you out on the side, we need to come out way far here. But that is actually starting to look like what we're going to want this thing to ultimately be in the end. Now there are two more kind of main elements I think that are going to go in here and make it look a lot better once these two guys can kind of hold themselves in place. That's going to be these hockey stick things that kind of come down are going to add to it. And big thing is the Glacier ring you can see on the bottom, and those swords coming out will give a little more weight to the bottom of this in the end. But yeah, that's a really low camera because it's not sitting on anything right now. I'm kind of holding it in place as best I can. But that is getting closer to the actual look we're going to be going. Again, now we just need to, now it's just adding the details to it. We have the main part in here. Again, all that stuff I just added, you really can't see. No matter which way we turn this, you're not going to be able to, well, I guess in the back you kind of. Then again, once those other things go in here, it'll disappear. It'll be all good. But yeah, that's where we are. And I think I'm just going to make it a really short session this time. I think this is probably like 15 minutes or so, and that's it. But next time we will go and we'll either get this top part in, or I'll work on the bottom. It'll be one or the other. But it'll be, now we start kind of bringing it all together. We got the perch, we got the big stuff done. Now it's time to finally kind of take it home a little bit. And it should be good. And until that next time comes, enjoy.